Today, children are gifted with the internet that provides them globally contributed information, which, in contrast to a child in the 1900s, may be a bit different. It is arguable to state that the internet has changed the width of our perception. As with all the information provided, we are able to receive and interpret global factors and ideas, broadening our perspective. In the 1900s, extensive information on any one topic was most likely written by one individual, with one narrow perspective of the world. In today's society, the internet is everywhere. And with the internet providing us with new perspectives from all the stimulation it provides, wouldn't it make sense that the internet might be impacting our perception in ways different than any generation before us? And if the internet is causing such effect, why is it happening? First of all, what is human perception? According to Webster Dictionary, perception is A, the awareness of a physical sensation in the environment, and B, the interpretation of these sensations into mental imagery and processing within the individual. So the question stands, with the creation of the internet, has our perception changed, and why? In order to correctly gauge whether or not the internet has changed our perception, we have to consider multiple factors. For instance, economic status, geographical location, gender, whether you were born with or without the internet, and of course age, all have to be taken into consideration. My hypothesis is, if the internet was in fact changing the human perception, and therefore altering the way humans interpret sensations around us, then we will see differences in perception in each stage of life caused by the internet in contrast to humans before the internet. Let's begin this analysis with the first stage of life, infantry. According to Encyclopedia Britannica, infants' sensory organs are fairly matured at birth. However, infants' individual sensory organs are at different levels of maturation. For example, infants possess functional sensory systems. Vision is somewhat organized, and audition, olfaction, and touch are fairly mature. However, infants lack perceptual knowledge, which must be gained through experience with the world around them. At birth, the infant's brain is quite overwhelmed by all the sensory stimulation coming from all the sensory organs. To be quite frank, infants can't perceive in the ways that we can due to their lack of experience handling all the stimulation. For this reason, factors like economic status, global location, and gender do not play a role in impacting the infant's perception. No matter where the infant is in the world, how wealthy his family is, or what gender the infant is, the child is not developed enough to have any implications on its perception due to these factors. According to Cohen and Oakes et al., a study which measured infants' attention and perception, infants tend to ignore objects that are the recipient of an action from an event. This means that while the infant might be interested in focusing his senses on an event, such as mom coming into the room and watching a video on her laptop, the infant would pay little to no attention in the video and focus entirely on mom. Furthermore, while the internet might have had specific colors and sounds that an infant from the 1900s might not have experienced, an infant from the 1900s had plenty of natural stimulation from the world around it. The next age group we're going to focus on is childhood. With developed sensory organs, child perception seems to deviate from the 1900s child when it comes to learning. According to the meta-analysis by the RCSI Cyberpsychology Research Center, children are deeply immersed into online technology from birth and are considered digital natives. Their research suggests that 14% of children watch 2 or more hours of media One third of children have TVs in their room. 25% of 3-year-olds go online daily, and 28% of 3 to 4-year-olds now use tablets. Furthermore, according to Roseberry 2013 et al., children tend to learn novel words in socially conjugate situations. This means that apps like FaceTime can provide children with the stimulation they need to learn to perceive their sense of self. So, with all the new internet enabled technology children are exposed to, is their perception different from a child in the 1900s? The answer is a solid no. While kids are better able to learn and read through a screen, it does not mean that children have a change in their perception, and therefore a change in the way they process information. The internet acts as a tool in which children are allowed to receive multiple stimuli, like sound and sight in a video, and process it more efficiently. While the internet has not changed the way children interpret and learn language, interactive online e-readers have proven to motivate children to read more. According to Scholastic Books, 26% of boys and 16% of girls read more when reading on an ebook. And according to the National Literacy Trust annual survey, children prefer to read through a screen 52.4% of the time, while only 32% prefer paperback books. Unfortunately, regardless of what century you were born in, or whether or not you were able to use the internet, factors like socioeconomic status, global location, and sometimes gender can impact the amount of education a child receives and ultimately their. The next group probably has had the most substantial impact from the internet: young adults, or millennials. With all the overwhelming support from all the pictures uploaded from all the millennials around the world, it's probably easy to suggest that the internet is changing a millennial's perception. And with evidence like Deal, Zuberman, and Barak's study, it's easy to suggest that this might be the case. Photo taken has been proven to enhance the intention you have in the event while taking a photo and therefore further engage you. Additionally, the internet creates large differences in perception when it comes to gender. As demonstrated in the 2009 study on Facebook use and college students' life satisfaction, trust, and participation, undergraduate Facebook users perceive their own life satisfaction and self-worth based on their Facebook friends, notifications, and likes. As a result of the internet and social media, many young adults are extremely influenced by their perceived likability as demonstrated by online activity. This can cause low self-esteem and body dysmorphia, especially for girls. However, with the unrealistic Photoshop pictures of people online, it is easy to understand how the internet could seem to make such an impact on young adult perception. Furthermore, as Science Daily demonstrated, people can only detect fake images 60% of the time. That means 40% of the time people believe photoshopped images are real people. However, it would be unwise to claim the internet has changed our perception. Throughout history, long before the creation of the internet, other mediums like paintings depicted unrealistic images of people that most likely had a similar effect to what photos on the internet do now. This painting is from 1895, and the same sexist motif is seen, creating body dissatisfaction and altering women's perception of themselves and their self-worth. Here, a motivational ad from Bill Jones made in the 1920s to 30s depicts the same attack at men's own perception of their manlyhood. Lastly, and unfortunately, socioeconomic status and geographical location still do play a part in young adults' perception. Again and unfortunately, regardless of whether you have the internet as your medium or not, depending on where you live and how much money a young adult family has, can extremely deteriorate or build one's self-perception based on what she/he is comparing themselves to.